Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to Classy Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I found in my closet while cleaning. This week's movie is Alien, the original one from 1979, but I'm gonna talk about the director's cut that was made in 2003. So the movie starts with with space and a spaceship gliding through the space. Yeah, it's called an Nostromo. It's a big cargo ship, a mining operation with a crew of 7. And the people on board are being kind of preserving these kind of pods, and they wake up because the ship has picked up a distress call, so the ship kind of intervenes. And the crew wakes up, and they all have breakfast and they joke around a bit. And then the captain called Dallas, he goes to check on something. He goes to a computer called Mother, and he informs the crew later on that we got a distress call and we need to answer it. So they have woken up a lot earlier than what they were supposed to. So they're not really like a saving operation. They're miners. Someone described this movie as truck drivers in space, which is accurate. It's very rough and whatnot. But anyway, they find out that this distress call is coming from a planetoid, and they go down there. And after a rough landing, Dallas, Lambert, and Kane, they go down there in space suits, and they find an alien ship, and they go inside, and they lose contact with the rest of the ship. And they explore the ship, and they find what they refer to as a space jockey in the canon, and it's basically a big alien in a chair, and his chest area is kind of bursted out, so this kind of foreshadow was to come. And then Kane figures out that there is something underneath it, so they go down to the alien spaceship's cargo room, and they found a bunch of eggs. And Kane falls down in like a pile of eggs, and he looks into one of the eggs that is open, and alien hugs his face. It burns through his like helmet and everything, and it impregnates him with an alien seed, basically. So Ripley doesn't want to get like Lambert, Dallas, or Kane on the ship again because there's a quarantine procedure because they've been in contact with the alien life form. But they try to get on the ship anyway, and Ripley refuses. And Ash, this other crew member, I think he's a doctor, he more or less lets them in, and he ignores the quarantine procedure. And then they argue a bit, and they go to the medical facility, and they try to remove the face hugger. It's basically like if you put two hands together, it's like that, and it has like Kane's face in its grasp. And they try to remove it, try to cut it, one of the fingers off, and it starts to bleed. So the problem is that this is like the perfect life form, and it bleeds acid, so the corrosion goes through the ship, and they try to stop it, and it eventually stops by itself, but it's highly corrosive, so they can't really remove it from his face, but he is kept conscious, and he's alive still. So Ash and Ripley argues later on what to do, and sometime later the face hugger drops naturally from Kane's face, and they try to find it, and they go into like the cell, and this is the medical bay, and this is one of the things that really made me angry, because they're looking for this kind of head crab thingy, and they don't close the door directly when they walk in, and it's so stupid. And anyway, Ash closes the door, and Ripley goes to check, and the dead face hugger kind of falls down on her and scares her half to death. But Kane has woken up anyway, and they're having a laugh about it, and he feels fine, and they go to eat more food, and they're joking and whatnot, having a good time, discussing like they paycheck, they will get more money because they went on a separate like side mission. And then Kane has a seizure, and this alien pops out of his chest, basically through his rib cage, and the crew is kind of confused and scared, and the alien runs off. And then they try to like figure out what to do. So they need to send Kane into like the it's a space burial, so they basically shoot out his body into the airlock, and then they try to figure out what to do. So they make these shock weapons that are very close. They look like basically like spear tips or something, so when the spear tip has contact with something, it gives it electrical shock. And they also have like motion trackers, but they're very bad kind of trackers anyway. But they systematically try to like check room by room, because now they know that there's an alien life form on board. So Brett goes to check, they basically divide it up, which is it was a really bad thing to do, but they think it's good, like, to divide the crew and go systematically to check. So Brett goes to check with one of his pals, and he gets jump scared by a ship's cat called Jonesy, and he has to chase after Jonesy, and he goes into this weird kind of room which is like dripping with water, and there's chains hanging from the roof. Maybe it's like a cargo bay or something. And then the alien drops on him and basically kills him. And it's one of those weird things. He find like this before he dies. He find like pieces of skin from the alien, so it's much bigger now, and it's even bigger than a human. It's like one of those creepy design elements. It's all black or very, very dark gray. And I think the design from it was made by Giger. He's long dead now, but it's one of the most creepy and sexual designs in an alien you've ever seen. If you haven't seen pictures of it, search for Xenomorph on Google it. They're awesome. And then the group tried to figure out what to do. So they figured out, like, well, we systematically continues to search, and we blow the goddamn thing out of the airlock. So they realized that the alien used the ventilation system to get around the ship. So Dallas goes down in one of the air tubes with a flamethrower and tries to, like, they try to basically force it out of the airlock, basically. And what happens is that everything goes wrong and Dallas dies. So now Ripley is in command of the ship, and she goes to the main computer frame called Mother, because now she has access to it, I guess. And she finds out that the crew is expendable, and they were supposed to bring back the alien life form to begin with. And then Ash enters the room, and she demands an explanation because he knows more than he's letting her know. But basically what happens is that he traps her in there, and he knocks her out and tries to smother her with a magazine. Really weird. And then Lambert, the other female character, I should say, and Parker, this big, strong guy, tries to wrestle Ash, but they realize that he's super strong, and they knock off his head with a pipe or something, and they realize that Ash is a robot. He's been working for the bad company from the beginning. So a little bit later, they turn on Ash's machine robot kind of thing, his head basically, and the head talks. Is a really cool effect. It's practical, with the actor underneath a table or something, and he's like this really cool effect anyway. And they get the information that the company wants the alien life form back to Earth so they can study it. So the ship is basically now headed for Earth, and there's nothing they can do about it. So they try to prep. They're going to, like, there's like a shuttle that this emergency shuttle anyway. They try to get off the Nostromo. So Lambert and Parker try to prep with weapons and stuff, and Ripley, since she has the access to the ship now and she's in full command, she goes to the bridge and arms the self-destruct sequence, and then she goes to try and fight Jonesy, which is a stupid idea, but I bet she likes the cat. And then she realized that the alien is in the way, so she has to take away like a detour. And what happens is that Lambert and Brett, I think it's called, or Parker, he gets killed, and so they're off. And while Ripley is heading off to the shuttle, she finds this alien hive, and Dallas isn't really dead, but he's like in this alien kind of goo kind of wall thingy, really weird. And he asks her to kill him, and she does. And then Ripley she's going to the shuttle, but the alien's in the way, so she has to go back, and she tries to disarm the self-destruct sequence code, but the ship won't let her, and somehow she managed to get back to the shuttle, and she gets into the escape pod or the shuttle, and she flies out from the Nostromo, and it explodes. And she puts Jonesy in like one of the cryopods, and she starts to take off her clothes because she's now going to prepare to go to sleep herself. And she's basically said that she might be picked up by, if she gets within vicinity of a inhabited solar system, excuse me, she might be picked up. But then she realized that the alien is actually aboard the shuttle, so she gets into a spacesuit, and she basically opens up the airlock and blow the thing out of there. And she does a last report and she goes back to sleep in one of the cryopods. So, what do I think about this movie? It's a really good movie. It's one of the better sci-fi, not the best, but one of the better sci-fis I've seen, because it's very, very slow. Not as slow as 2001, A Space Odyssey, but it has a slow build-up. So what I did was, when my youngest sister, when she was very young, and I wanted to try something, she was like, I don't want to watch this horror movie. And I said, like, well, it's a good movie, so if you give it like 25 minutes, and I come back, and then we can turn off the DVD, and you can do whatever you want. So after 25 minutes, I came back, and I said, no, I'm going to turn it off now. No, don't turn it off. Now it starts to get exciting. So it builds up to this reveal of the alien, and then when the alien kind of arrives, and there's this gory scene and everything, you can't stop. It's like this action kind of cool thing, actually. So, yeah, I mean, I can definitely recommend this movie. So, but maybe like the director's cut, not the original one. They have like a remaster on the like DVD and everything. So not the original theatrical release, but the director's cut from 2003. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.